Janet Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, October 25th, 2020. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, today we will see some gusty winds with low relative humidity across portions of the Great Basin. The greatest concern is across the far southern part of the area, where relative humidity will be in the 15 to 20% range, and we'll see really strong winds. Wind gusts across the southern part of the Great Basin are expected to be in the 35 to 55 mile an hour range this afternoon as the cold front moves through. Further north, we'll see winds in the 25 to 35 mile per hour range with more moderate relative humidity, but still dry air fuels. And then further north, really cold conditions today with highs in the 30 to 40s. So moving to Monday and Tuesday, we'll continue to see dry, gusty conditions across the far southern part of the Great Basin. Over the past 24 hours, we have seen some precipitation across the northern part of the Great Basin and some new snowfall across the higher elevation. The fire activity map just shows a few new fires across the Great Basin. Over the past 7 days, it has continued to be incredibly dry across the central and southern part of the area. Really not a lot of precipitation to speak of. We will see a bit of precipitation with this cold front moving through, but it really does look like conditions will continue to remain unusually dry. ERCs have come down across the northern part of the Great Basin, and even further south, despite the dry weather with cooler temperatures, ERCs are trending downwards. You can see the down pointing arrows in the dots there, and that does indicate a downward trend in ERC. So the good news is that even though it has been really dry, the cooler temperatures are helping. And if you look at the trend charts, we see that reflected here as well, with ERCs generally trending downward across the entire area. Satellite this morning shows an upper low moving through the Great Basin that is pushing a cold front through the area that will bring much cooler weather to the northern and central part of the Great Basin and those gusty winds further south. So you can see the image on the left showing our general weather pattern for today. We have that strong, cold, low pressure system moving through the Great Basin, and with the cold front associated with that weather system, we are looking at the potential for some gusty winds and low relative humidity across the southern part of the area today. Looking at that in more detail, we're expecting some pretty strong winds. You can see winds in the 35 to 45 mile an hour range across a pretty good portion of the central and southern part of the Great Basin. Relative humidities will be the driest across the far south. As we move into Monday, that low pressure system continues to dig and strengthen as it moves southward, and we will see another day of wind and relative humidity concerns across the southern part of the area. You can see the areas of concern highlighted in the significant fire potential map on the right. Looking at those winds in more detail, again, really exceptionally strong winds expected tomorrow, widespread gusts in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range with some areas seeing even stronger winds, and looking pretty dry by tomorrow across the western part of the area. And as we move into Tuesday with that low pressure system just to our southeast, we will see another day of gusty winds across portions of the southern Great Basin. If we look at that in more detail, you'll see the winds aren't quite as strong on Tuesday as what we will see on Monday. Winds generally in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range, but still the potential for critically dry and windy conditions across the southern part of the Great Basin on Tuesday. Over the next 3 days, we could see a fair amount of precipitation with this cold front moving through with this upper level storm. Most of the accumulation will be in the higher terrain, but the lower elevations could see a small amount of precipitation as well, and this is really welcome news as these are areas that have not seen precipitation for quite some time. As we move into Wednesday, we start to see high pressure building back into the Great Basin, drier air moving in, and temperatures will slowly begin to rebound on Wednesday. That continues into Thursday with high pressure building across the Great Basin. Temperatures starting to get back to seasonal norms on Thursday, but still for the time of year, that's in the 50s to 60s across many areas. Moving to Friday, still keeping dry air across much of the area. And on Saturday, really similar pattern as well. So we will warm up towards the end of next week, but temperatures will just be approaching normal again. In the 7-day period, it's looking pretty dry after this initial shot of precipitation that we're expecting to see in the next 3 days. So moving back into a drier pattern after this storm system. If we look out into the beginning of November, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for a continuation of the warm and dry conditions. So that's it. Please feel free to contact us with any questions. Our information is on the screen, and you can find us on Twitter. Thanks.